Hi guys, Claire here. Welcome to Brave. We've got some people visiting also from Immortal Fitness, so welcome to everyone from there as well. If you are following along with us with the music tonight, it's number 9, Flowing Brave Yoga on Spotify. So if you follow us on Spotify, get that ready now. And I just wanted to take a moment to set up the class as well. So last week we spoke about various different things with yoga around that non-attachment. And this week we'll sort of take that similar thread to another term, which is Santosha, which means contentment. So this is like something that I feel is quite challenging for humans in general. We often find it difficult to feel content, and we often find that happiness we put in the future as something we can obtain when we get to a certain point in our life, when we get the house or get the dog or get whatever, then we'll be happy. But the skill of Santosha is, can you feel content? Hi, Mark. Can you feel content with what you have right now? And I find that the best way to do this is through gratefulness. So feeling grateful for the things that you do have does make you feel content and less worried about the things that you don't have. And we all know that saying that comparison is the thief of joy. And that is because when we compare ourselves to other people, we always feel like we're worse off or that we have something else we need to achieve because we're not good enough. So today we're going to focus on Santosha, and we will do some gratefulness in the start of the class. So if you have your playlist ready, you can press play now. So we're all on the same playlist together. And we'll come down and start in a child's pose. So you can have your knees out to the sides and toes touching behind you. Hands out in front of you, and just let yourself sink into the floor. We'll take a few breaths here together, allowing that belly to be soft. And really arriving in this place, in this moment. And finding your top 3 things that you're grateful for today. If you're having a rough day and you're finding it hard to find things to be grateful for, you can make them very simple, like yoga, or your dog, or your health. And when you think of each of those 3 things, really feel how grateful you are for those things. And when we put our own problems in perspective with everything that's happening in the world, we can start to realize there is a lot to be grateful for. Breathing deeply and maybe bringing that ujjayi breath, which is that deep constriction at the back of the throat and breath in and out through the nose. Sounds a little bit like breathing underwater or Darth Vader breath. Or a little bit like the ocean that is your ujjayi breath. Let the belly drop as you inhale. And as you exhale, the navel comes towards the spine. Gently pushing up into your hands, and raise your right hand up towards the roof, and exhale the hand, thread it underneath you. If this feels too much, you can just stay here, or if you feel like you might be able to get that head on the floor and come into more of a twist, you're welcome. Relaxing the head on the floor and being soft. Pushing into that left hand, slowly coming back. Placing the hand down, and inhale, reach the left hand up towards the roof. Exhale, thread it underneath you. Maybe sink down onto the shoulder, resting the head onto the floor. Keeping in that breath. pushing through that right hand, coming back to center. Come into tabletop position. We'll start with some cat-cows. So inhale, drop the belly, gaze up. Exhale, tilt the tailbone, look towards the belly button. Inhale, belly drops. Exhale, push the floor away, gaze down. Now you're welcome to take some little movements, some barrel rolls of the hips if that feels good. Anything that feels nice, you can close your eyes. Maybe move forward and back on the wrists. Coming back to neutral spine, we'll thread the needle. Inhale, the right arm comes up towards the roof. Exhale, thread underneath the body, relaxing into the floor. Now we have a few options here. If you're new to my class, I'd like you to stay here. If you want to come a little further, you can reach the left hand out, come onto the tips of the fingers, and then reach the right foot out and flex the toe. Make sure that the weight is on the shoulder and not on the head or the neck. Push the top of the right hand into the floor, lift the left hand up, and maybe lift that right leg. If you've lifted and you feel comfortable, you might better come behind you and bind the hands. Now, pushing into that right hand is really important, and all of the weight is on the shoulder, not on the head. To come out, stretch forward with the hand and the leg, place them down, place the knee on the floor. Push through that left hand, take on all that weight to come back to tabletop. So some of these poses, we're going to add options. It's like a choose your own adventure, and if it looks a little funny, please just take it slow and don't try the most advanced version in the first class. Inhale, the left hand comes up, exhale underneath the body, twisting through the spine. Resting into the floor. This is a really beautiful twist through the back. So if you're new to the class, stay here. The right hand can come forward. Otherwise, if you want to try the next option, make sure that your right foot is on the floor. Then extend through that right foot and through the heel towards the back of the room. Now the next option is to raise the hand, maybe raise the foot. If you feel like you've got the strength and the balance, then maybe you can reach behind you and find your foot and come into a little back bend. Now this is just an option, not something you need to take. To come out, we're going to reach and lower, and then bring that right hand in, take your weight, and slowly come back to tabletop. Couple of cat-cows to neutralize that back. Inhale, look up. Exhale, push the floor away. Back to neutral, tuck the toes, lift the knees off the floor just a little. So what's really common is this tilt in the back when we come into a tabletop with the knees lifted. I want you to tilt the tailbone and have a nice straight back. Squeeze the glutes. Stack the shoulders over the wrists. Lift the left foot up, just off the floor. Exhale, take it down. Lift the right foot up. Exhale, down. Lift the left foot up. Can you bring your knee to elbow to touch? And back. Right knee and foot rises. Exhale, right knee to right elbow and back. Stepping out to plank. Holding here. So with our plank, if your shoulders or wrists are unhappy, come down into your elbows, okay? Now the thing is, we don't want to have our glutes nice and high. We want to have them nice and low. I'm sorry to Byron and his crew who've been doing 9-minute planks every day. That's crazy. Good on you guys. So I don't need to cue you guys too much. But what's really important is you activate your glutes. So they're not just hanging out and you're dumping into your back. The glutes are strong. Neck is neutral, gaze towards the floor. And breathe. Squeeze the legs together. Option to lower the knees onto the floor. If it gets too much, this is still a challenge. We'll have 5 more breaths or seconds. And then lowering the knees, bring your hands back up. I'm going to go through a chaturanga, which I want to explain for people who have any shoulder injuries. Chaturanga is a pose that we do a lot in power yoga, and I'm going to give you an option to take for the rest of the class and for the rest of your life. It's actually a really good option for your chaturangas. So knees down. Tops of your feet on the floor. Caveat, this does not make you any less good at yoga if you have your knees on the floor in your chaturanga. It just means that your shoulders are going to last you longer. So knees on the floor, squeeze your glutes, tilt your tailbone, lift your chest forward. Not a lot, just a little bit. You want the top of your arm to be in the socket. Now from here, we're bending the elbows, squeeze the glutes, tilt the tailbone, and we're coming down only to 90 degrees in those elbows. And then from here, keep squeezing, hold, tilt the tailbone, squeeze the glutes, neutral neck, just gaze to the floor. And then from there, push straight up to an upward facing dog. So we're only going into 90 degrees in the elbows. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze the glutes. Tuck the toes, push up and back. Downward facing dog. So a nice way to check if you're in the right spot for your down dog is to come into plank and check that your shoulders and your wrists are in line, and then come back. That's how wide or long your down dog should be. Give your neck a little shake. Maybe play with bending through one knee and then the other. And practicing that contentment of where your yoga pose is. Maybe your knees are bent and you're getting right back to get that weight into the legs, and that's okay. That's actually really good. Look between the hands, maybe step or jump between the hands. Inhale to a flat back and exhale to fold. Gently rolling up, bending through the knees, stacking the vertebrae on top of each other. Hands come through heart center, reach up, and exhale, hands to heart. Now, if you do have some padding, I'd like you to get it and place it halfway down your mat for your knees. Inhale, hands up. Exhale to fold. Inhale halfway, so fingers on the shin, get long through the spine. Exhale, hands to floor, bend the knees. Step or jump back into high plank. We're going to practice chaturanga. Lower the knees, squeeze the glutes, tilt the tailbone, chest forward, bend the elbows in like a tricep push-up. Come down to only 90 degrees in those elbows. Then push up, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. The reason why that saves your shoulders is that last little bit of movement through the shoulders can really tear through the rotator cuffs through repeated movements. Look between the hands, option to step or jump between the hands. Sweep hands behind you, breath in, exhale into chair. Get deep into chair, tilt tailbone, squeeze the thighs, getting to those heels so much that the toes lift up off the floor. Exhale, hands down, step back with the right leg. Make sure there's some padding there to drop the knee. And inhale, rise up into lunge. Dragon fingers, exhale. Let those hips sink forward. Coming into flexibility here. If your goal is strength, you have the option to raise the back knee. Today, we're going to play with flexibility. Exhale, hands down, framing the front foot, untuck the back toe, step back, drop the knees, chaturanga, high to low, 90 degrees. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot forward, lower left knee. Breath in, rise up, dragon fingers, exhale. Let those hips sink down. Now the hips bones are even towards the front of the mat. They're not twisting open to the side. So just check that you're being even in the hips. Hands come down, untuck the back toe, step forward, fold over the thighs, breath out. Breath in, bend through knees, roll up. Hands through heart center, reach tall. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, halfway. Breath out, hands to floor. Step back with the left foot. Lower the knee. Inhale to rise up. Dragon fingers. Exhale. Maybe reach behind you. This is just an option for those of you who've been with me for a while. Maybe you want to grab that back foot and bring the foot in towards the butt. This is a really big stretch for the quad. So if this is too much, you can always bring one hand down to the floor. Watch that back knee. If there's pain, it probably is a sign that this is not a good pose for you. So listen. Drop the back foot. Hands come back. Foot comes back. Maybe drop the knees to the floor. Chaturanga. Exhale down to 90 degrees. Breath in, upward facing dog. Breath out, downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward. Right knee comes down. Breath in, come up. Exhale, dragon. Hissing optional. And then reach behind you, grab the foot, bring it in. It's actually a really good way if you're angry to just be like, it's like really fun. So you're welcome to hiss as loud as you want, especially if your partner's been really annoying. You can yoga hiss at him and say, I told you to do it. Dropping that back foot, frame the front foot, untuck the back toes, step forward and fold through the thighs. Breath in, gently roll up, hands come up. Breath out, come back to floor. Breath in halfway. Breath out, hands to floor, step back, the left foot. Lower the knee, rise up, dragon. Maybe reach behind you, grab the foot, bring it in, just an option. Dropping the back foot with control, step back, high plank, option lower the knees, come down to 90 degrees in the elbows. Breath in, upward dog. Breath out, downward facing dog. Left foot forward between the hands, drop the right knee, rise up, dragon, hips sink forward, maybe grab the back foot, bring it in towards the glutes. Breath out, let it drop. Untuck the back toes, step forward, fold over the thighs, breath out. Gently roll up, curving the spine up, grow long, reach to sky. And exhale to fold. Breath in, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, step or jump back into your high plank. Knees drop, chaturanga, come down to 90 degrees. Inhale, up dog. With your upward facing dog, roll the shoulders back, squeeze the glutes. Those of you who've been here for a while, your thighs may lift from the floor. Exhale, downward facing dog. Remove the padding from underneath you. Inhale, raise the right leg up. Bend the knee and open the hip. So we're bringing that right heel towards the right glute. Shoulders are even, so we're not twisting through those shoulders. They're nice and even towards the floor. Option to stay here, especially if this is your first class and we're new to yoga. Otherwise, you can flip over for flip dog, reaching open through the chest. So your knees and ankles should be stacked. Hips are extending towards the roof as you reach through the top hand. When you're ready, drop that hand to floor. Come back to three-legged dog where we can all meet. And exhale, knee to nose. Inhale to rise up. Exhale, knee to left elbow, to left wrist, to left elbow, to rise up. Exhale to right elbow, to right wrist, to right elbow, to rise up. Exhale, sweep between hands, get low into the legs. We're going to come into getting that right shoulder underneath that right knee. We're going in that direction. Doesn't mean you're going to get it right there, but you're going to hook that elbow underneath that right leg and make little movements forward and back. So this is to start getting into our hips. Those of you who have scissors and have been practicing that with me, you're welcome to come into that now. And if you don't know what that is, you can stay here. So rocking forward and back. So that heel is going forward and straight back, not out to the side. Hands come down to frame the front foot. Take a breath in to prepare and exhale to rise up. Dragon fingers, breath out. Option to stay here, or if you want to come into more strength, raise the front heel off the floor. Exhale to lower, hands to heart, breath in, get long through the chest. And exhale, hook that elbow around the outside of the quad to twist towards the right. So you're using that elbow to hook and cause traction through the back, so twisting. Option for a bind here for those of you who have that in your practice. One more breath. Inhale, open up into warrior two. Get deep into the thighs. Walk that foot forward and imagining an opening of the hips. So pushing down through the blade edge of the back foot, getting deep into the front knee, gaze to the front middle finger. Exhale a little lower. Hands come behind you and interlace. Open the chest. The hands come up off the glutes and exhale, fold forward, humble warrior. So bringing that forehead towards the floor, hands coming up and over behind the head. Palms are touching to open more through the chest. Keep deep into that front right foot. A little trick is to come deeper into that front right knee and bring the hips under the body. If this is too much, place the hands down to hold the weight of your torso and just work on that flexibility in the hips. One more breath. On the next exhale, slowly rise up. Coming back into warrior two, keep that front knee bent. Extended side angle, option one, resting on the quad. Raising that top left hand up, letting neck and head be soft. Option two, for flexibility, we're going to come down to the floor, and you can take some of that weight with the hand, or if you want to work on core strength, you can just make sure the tips of the fingers are touching the floor. Here are some options. If you're new, stay here. Work on bringing the hips under the body rather than the booty being out. That's going to open through all of the muscles in the hips. If you want to come into your different binds, left arm comes behind you, maybe to grab the thigh for a half bind. Right hand comes behind you to grab the hands. Maybe you can step forward, coming into bird of paradise. Just an option. You can just work on the binds to start with. A half bind is a really great addition to your extended side angle. And when you're feeling like you're open enough in that top shoulder and it's rolling open enough, you might be able to bring the hand behind you to grab the legs. I've just done another exercise class and my thigh is burning. I need to straighten. And exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot and step back. If anyone did my Brave Sculpt class just then, lower the knees, coming into chaturanga. So bending the elbows, option to come down to 90 degrees. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, down dog. Pedaling out through the legs. So we're working a lot in coming into flexibility, but from strength. So we're working in the hips, coming into a flexible position, but with using the muscle, rather than just passive stretching. Taking inhale, lift the left leg up, bend the knee, open the hip, and stack. Shoulders are even, neck and head is relaxed. Maybe middle circles with the ankle. Option to stay here, or flip dog. If you did it on the other side, make sure that you're even. Bend the knees, hips come to the roof, open through the spine. You can start to work on a bit of a back bend and opening more and more towards the roof as you get more comfortable in this pose. Exhale, lower that left hand. Come back to three-legged dog. All come back together. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale to rise up. Exhale, knee to right elbow, to right wrist, to right elbow, to rise up. Exhale to left elbow, to left wrist, to left elbow, to rise up. You're doing awesome. Exhale, sweep underneath you. Come low into the hips. Little rock forward and back. We're going to play with that super crazy pose. Left shoulder's coming underneath the left knee. So the idea is that you're not necessarily going to get your head under your knee or your shoulder, but it's going in that direction. And then moving that right heel forward and back. If that doesn't feel good, just have your hands framing your front foot and just move forward and back in a normal lunge. This is going to be really opening for the hips as well. You need to listen to your body. And that's one great thing that yoga does, is it really connects us to our body. And what I love about it is you should not be really doing yoga to get good at yoga. You do yoga to get good at life, which is very different. So from here, you can frame the front foot, prepare for a lunge. Inhale to rise up, hands, dragon fingers, exhale. Option to come into strength. Lift the front heel, get deep into the hips. Exhale, drop the heel, hands to heart, breath in to lengthen through chest, and exhale to twist towards the left. So hands are at heart center, relax neck and head. And the more that you twist into this position, if you're trying to get into your binds, the more that you twist through the torso, the easier this is going to be. One more breath. And then exhale, open up into warrior two. Get deep into the hips, pushing through the blade edge of that back foot. Tilt the hips down, so tilt tailbone, grow through chest. Gaze to front middle finger. Close the eyes and breathe. Humble warrior. Hands come behind you to bind. Straighten through the arms. Exhale, folding forward over the legs. Head towards the floor. And the hands come over the head. Now, if this doesn't feel good for your shoulder, you don't have to go as deep, or the hands can be on the floor to take the weight of the body. This is coming into flexibility from strength. So we're staying deep into that front knee, and the quads and the legs are active, but we're also opening the thighs. Keep breathing. Last exhale. And then bringing yourself up with control, opening into warrior two. Whoa. Get deep into that front knee. Push through the heel. Exhale, extended side angle. Option one is to rest on the quad. But if you're resting, don't just dump all of your weight and switch off your core. It's only very slight rest. Otherwise, bring your hand to the floor, reach tall through the top hand. Again, rather than holding all of your weight on your hand, try to just have your fingers just touching the floor, so it's all coming from core strength. Left ear falls towards left shoulder. Coming into your binds, so top hand can come behind you, maybe grab the thigh for half bind. If you want to have a play with a full bind, reach behind, bind the hands, open that top chest, and rather than having the glutes out towards the back, you want to bring them in between the feet. Now, option here is for your bird of paradise, look towards the front foot, step forward, come up, and fly. So if you do get up and wobble, you can straighten that top leg. To come out, you want to come out with control, so come back to meet everyone else, back in our extended side angle. Frame the front foot, step back, and flow. So you can have the option, drop the knees, come down to 90 degrees in the elbows, breath in, upward facing dog, breath out, downward facing dog. Pedaling out through the legs, option to take a drink of water if you need it. Bringing back that victorious breath, that ujjayi breath if you lost it. And if you're new to yoga, ujjayi is a bit of a funny one to get used to, but it sounds a bit like scuba diving breath. So you close the mouth, constrict the back of the throat, and breathe in and out of the nose. It makes it almost, Darth Vader noise. Look between the hands, bend the knees, step or jump forward. Sweep hands behind you, breath in, exhale to rise up. And we do that to create heat and create connection to our breath. So we're not just doing it because we want to sound like Darth Vader. That would be pretty funny though. So coming into eagle, we're lifting the right leg over. I'll do it this way. So the right leg over and the right arm under. So pushing the elbows into each other and bringing them towards the front of your mat or the computer. Now that right foot can be hooked around or just poking out the side, whatever feels okay for you. And hold. Next move, we come into stag. So we keep eagle arms. We bring the right knee in towards the chest, breath out. Inhale, reach behind you into warrior three, eagle arms. Flex the back foot. The hip is even. So if that right hip is raising up and opening, take it down. It balances off today. Glaze towards the floor. And a challenge, bend through that left knee, get long through the right leg, reach as far as you can before you step into a lunge. Breath in, rise up, back bend. And exhale, back to center. How you doing? Exhale, warrior two. Hands are in the center of your body. Ostrich pose is similar to humble warrior. We're going to come straight down the center, keep bent in that front knee and point the hands towards the floor. Tips, get deep into the hips. So this is another one where we're working with strength and flexibility. Sthira Sukha, it's called in yoga, the balance of strength and flexibility together. Head and neck is heavy. This should be challenging. Keep pushing through the heel of that right foot and then push down through the blade edge of the side of the foot. One more breath. Release the hands underneath your face. Walk your hands towards the right And then your left hand comes on the inside of your left thigh. So you're going to sink your hips down, straighten through that right leg and bend through that left, and traction through the back. You should be feeling this through the hips. So it's an opener of the hips and also a stretch in the back. If you just did my other class, you'll be burning. And gently start to rise up. Come back to warrior two, bend through the front knee. Half moon. So if you do have a block, it's really handy for this one. Place it in front of your foot or have it in your hand. And then as you reach forward, bring your back foot up. So it's an slight external lift of the leg, and you're flexing that back foot. Imagine that right glute is lifting the leg up, so that glute is really active. You can give it a little poke to make sure it's working. Now, if you want more of a challenge, you can actually take your hand off the block, or you can have your hand on the floor. Bit more of a challenge if you wish to accept it. Reach behind you, quarter moon, grabbing the foot, coming into a back bend, opening up the knee. Keep breathing. Exhale, releasing the feet, coming in, folding over the legs, ragdoll, feet are hip width apart. Grab those elbows and rock from side to side. So just be aware in yourself now how your practice is doing. And are you being judgmental on yourself and how you think this practice should be? And then from here, we'll slowly rise up, sweep the hands behind you, breath in, exhale, come back into chair. Had so many chairs today. Tilt your tailbone down, get a little lower, squeeze your thighs together. Left leg over, right arm. So left leg over, left arm under. Squeeze the elbows together, get a little lower. Keep that breath. So in yoga, if you just rock up to class and you breathe the whole class, you've done yoga. That's what's so cool. You don't have to do all these crazy poses to have done yoga. A little longer hold. Get a little deeper into the thighs. Bend them even more. Breath in, rise up into stag. Breath out, reach behind you into warrior three with eagle arms. Flex your left foot. Chin towards chest, gaze towards the floor. Keep the balance. Use that left glute, lift the foot a little higher, but the hips don't twist open, they stay even to the floor. So it's more about length. Challenge, bend through the right knee, get long through that back foot, get longer, lower, lower, coming into a low lunge. Inhale, open into back bend. Keep those hands in eagle. And exhale to center. Breath in to prepare. And exhale, warrior two legs, eagle arms. Get deep into thighs. Hands come straight down, breath out to ostrich. Now with this one, see if you can get deeper in the thighs. Can you relax your head a little more? Can you create space between the teeth and the jaw? Can you keep breathing? Next, exhale, releasing the hands underneath your face, walking your left hand towards your left foot and the right hand onto the inside of the right thigh and straightening that arm and getting deep into the legs. So we're tractioning out the body. The hips are getting opened, the back on the left side is getting lengthened. And gaze towards that left foot. Gently releasing the hands, rising up, coming back into your warrior two. Gaze to the front middle finger. You know where we're going, right? Half moon. So if you do have a block, grab it. You can have it in your hand, is sometimes helpful. And then reach forward. The block just gives you imaginary longer arms. Again, using that left glute. Sometimes I like to really imagine it or to poke it to make sure it's working, because they tend to get really lazy. Now, option to float the hands, working on the core, or if you want to work on a back bend, your last option is to grab the back leg. Now, you can come into a back bend here or just bring the foot in towards the glutes, which is coming into a quad stretch. Whatever feels better. Last breath, and exhale to fold. Bend through the knees, let them be soft. Maybe play with bending one leg and straightening the other in this pose. Stepping back into downward facing dog. Coming into your bridge pose, place the knees on the floor, come down chaturanga, 90 degrees in the elbows. Inhale to up dog, shoulders roll open, squeeze the glutes. And exhale, down dog. Raise the right leg up, breath in. Exhale, sweep between the hands, half pigeon. So half pigeon is a pose that has quite a few different technical cues. So I'm going to go through some to make sure you're doing it safely. You can untuck the back toe and take that back leg back a little more if you want to make it more intense. If your shin is not parallel with the front of your knee, I'd like you to point your toe. It's going to protect your knee. If you want to make it deeper into your glutes, you can bring your foot and encourage it forward. That's only if your hips are even. As soon as you start to twist to the side, you're better off bending that back knee and coming forward this way because you're going to protect the knee. The knee is one thing in this pose that you have to be super careful of. And the muscle where you should be feeling it should be in the glute. So this muscle, the target area is the piriformis, which is deep in the glutes. And once you find your correct position, you can gently start to sink your head forward. If this feels too much, you can just stay on your elbows and just let your head and neck be heavy. And I'll be reading you a nice little quote that I found this week, which I really liked, which really explained what yoga is. So yoga is not about touching your toes. It is about what you learn on the way down. Yoga is like life. It's a balance of when to know, when to hold on, and when to let go. Yoga does not change the way we see things. It transforms the person who sees. Yoga is not just for the flexible. It is for the willing. Yoga takes you into the precise moment of this moment, and this is the only place where life exists. It's not about your history, but your presence on the mat that matters. And yoga is not about self-improvement. It is about self-acceptance. And you gently can start to walk your hands up. And the back leg that's behind you, you can sweep it around towards the front and help yourself with this one. Bring your right foot onto the inside of your left leg. Remove the glute muscle so that you're sitting on your sit bones. Reach tall through the chest and twist the torso slightly towards the left and fold forward. Now, when you're new to yoga and stretching, this might feel quite intense for your hamstrings. A little bend in that front knee is totally fine. You'll notice mine is still bent because my hamstrings are super tight, even now. We try to tilt from the hips. So rather than rounding through the upper back, if this is how your fold forward is looking, I'd prefer that you get nice and straight through the back, place your hands on your hips, tilt from your hips and see how far you can go and just stay there. As soon as your back starts to curve, you're not getting the opening in the hips. Walking your hands up. Bringing the right foot over the top of the straight leg. Left hand hooks around, Lord of the Fish. We're coming into a twist. Breath in, grow long. Exhale, coming back to center. Inhale long. Exhale, hands to the opposite side. Counter stretch. Take your chest towards the floor. Undo the feet. Come into reverse tabletop. So we're bringing the hips up. We're getting straight through the spine and squeezing those glutes. Exhale, glutes to floor. Tuck the feet and step back to plank. Chaturanga is an option, or just meet me in downward facing dog. So chaturanga, if you wish. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Push through heels. Breath in to prepare. Reach that right leg up. And exhale, sweep the left leg. Sweep between the hands, coming into pigeon on the left. So remembering those cues. If you're falling onto that glute, you can bend the back knee and make it a little softer, or you can actually place a block underneath that left glute so that you can rest on the block. But you want to make sure that your hips are sitting on the floor or close to. Untuck that back toe, walk it a little further out if you need more. Hip bone should be even and not twisted. Then you can start to walk forward. Maybe coming onto your elbows. Relaxing your neck and head, maybe resting the head on the floor if it goes there. And I'll read you the rest of my quotes. Warning, yoga has been known to cause health and happiness. The most important pieces of equipment that you need for doing yoga are your body and your mind. Yoga teaches you how to listen to your body and how to bend so that you do not break. Calming the mind is yoga, not just standing on one's head. In yoga, obstacles do not block the path, they are the path. And my favorite, don't practice yoga to get better at yoga. Practice yoga to get better at life. Taking a few last breaths here, letting yourself sink into the floor. Gently walking yourself up, helping your back leg around towards the front, removing the padding from underneath the glutes, raise tall through the chest, twist the torso slightly towards the right, and then fold forward over that right leg. So again, just remembering that the journey of yoga is the important part. So it's not so much getting that pose or getting your head on your thigh or your knee or doing a handstand or headstand. It's about what you learn through the practice of contentment and self-awareness. And I really love the part of that quote that talks about how yoga is about self-acceptance. Because I think this is one of the most beautiful gifts that yoga gives you. And you have to keep practicing to remember, because you sometimes forget. But that's why yoga is always here, and yoga is called a practice, because you have to keep it up to keep the benefits. Gently walking the hands up. That left knee comes over the top of the right leg. The right hand hooks around. Grow tall through chest and exhale to twist. So the left hand comes nice and close towards the back, so you grow long through the spine. Chin is just towards chest and relaxed. Inhale to center. Hands come over towards the right. Counter stretch. Exhale. Bring the chest down. Inhale to rise up. And you can come into your reverse tabletop, or if you want the full version, if you've been here for a while, reverse plank. So I'll do a reverse tabletop with others. So bring your hips up, gaze towards the belly, or maybe the head falls back if that feels nice. Exhale, glutes down. Coming into frog pose, lots of hips today. So we're doing something a little different in frog today. I'd like you to fold over the mat 3 times. So it's nice and padded. If you don't have a mat, put pillows under your knees, but make sure that they're the same thickness, because otherwise it could throw your hips out to have different thickness. You're going to have the knees wide, toes out to the side like Charlie Chaplin feet, and you want your knees and your ankles in one line. So you don't want your ankles wider than your knees, because that's going to be a bad rotation for the knee. Bring the hand on the inside of the thigh and just encourage your knees a little further out. And a trick here that's important is if you come forward, you're not going to feel anything in your hips. You need to bring your glutes back towards your heels. And then you can bring your elbows onto the floor, and your lower back often when you start will bend towards the floor. So I want you to tilt your tailbone and take that back bend out of this pose. Relax your neck and head, so let it sink forward, chin towards chest, look between your thighs. Tilt your tailbone even more. This is where the pose is about to get difficult. So we're going to play with active and passive. And what that looks like is we're going to actively squeeze the thighs towards each other. So we're going to be using the adductor muscles in the middle of the thigh to squeeze the knees towards each other to be active, and then we're going to release and relax. So 3 breaths each. So next exhale, you're going to squeeze the knees together like you're trying to squeeze the thighs in towards each other. For 3 breaths. Activate the glutes. Activate all through the quads. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Last breath. And then exhale, be soft. Watch that belly doesn't dip towards the floor. If it does, grab a block or 2 and place them underneath your belly so that you don't come into the back bend. Let your muscles be soft. Let them all just release. We're going to do that again, active and then passive. So be active, pulling those quads in together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Activate the glutes, activate the thighs, squeeze them more. 3 breaths here. I'm on breath 2. Last breath. Feel the shake. And then exhale, release, let them be soft. Maybe you have a little bit more now to move those knees a little wider. Keep pushing those hips gently back towards the knees rather than sinking forward onto the chest. And that's to actually make sure you're getting the target muscles in the hips. Let gravity slowly start to sink you deeper into the floor. And just observe in your life in the last week, have you been practicing contentment or gratefulness? And could those practices be implemented to help you through your week or your day? I know for me, I definitely should be practicing it more often. Last time, active, so squeeze the thighs together, squeeze the glutes, push everything in. Thighs are really shaking. Activate glutes, squeeze them with your mind, make sure they're activating, squeeze thighs, and exhale, release. If you have the block underneath your chest, remove it. And to come out, listen carefully. You're going to slide forward onto your belly. And then your legs will gently start to straighten behind you, and then windscreen wipe the legs. Wow. It's really challenging to activate and then relax because you're using activation, strength, and flexibility. Inhale, come up into an upward facing dog. Roll the chest open. And exhale, come back into down dog. Taking it slow and being really mindful. You've just done a lot of hip opening work. Oh. Pedal through the legs. Reach the right hand over towards the left elbow for a twist. So twisting under the body. You might need to bring your hands a bit closer to your feet for this one. Beautiful stretch through the back. Take your hand back to center. Inhale. Exhale, left hand reaches under, grabbing the outside of your right ankle, twisting and looking underneath that right armpit. Let neck and head be heavy. Coming back to down dog, looking between your fingers, placing your knees between your hands, sitting on your glutes. Open up your chest, and we're going to just slowly release our spine onto the floor, but with control. So taking it slow, imagine you're going to drop each vertebra onto the ground and try and keep your feet on the floor. Tilt your tailbone even more. Tilt, tilt, tilt. Each vertebra, take it slow. Oh yeah. Like you're releasing a chain gently onto the ground. Back bends. Tickle the backs of your heels. You have a couple of options, a restful back bend or a restorative back bend. You can take 1 or 2 blocks and place them underneath the sacrum. And you can just work on a releasing back bend. Otherwise, we'll come into a back bend with strength. Place the block in between the glutes, tickle the backs of the heels. Take a breath in to prepare and exhale to bring the hips up. Interlace the hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders underneath you. Push the hands into the floor. Push the heels into the floor and drag them back towards you to activate hamstrings and glutes. Squeeze the block a little more. Tilt your tailbone towards your heels. And keep breathing. Another 5 counts. Gently releasing your arms, upper back, middle back, and lower back to floor. Removing the block and windscreen wipe the legs. So you have a couple more options. We're going to do bridge leg raises, and then the last option, you can come into wheel if you want to. Otherwise, you can do the next 2 versions of bridge just like what we did. So you can take that option. Or if you just want to come into an early adult nap, you're also welcome. I won't judge you. Tickle the backs of the heels, and we'll inhale to prepare, and exhale, lift up. So roll those shoulders under. You're welcome to stay here, activating through glutes, or if you want leg raises, right foot into the middle, left knee in towards the chest, and then straighten through the leg. So activating through that right glute by pushing the heel into the floor and pushing the hips towards the roof. Keep breathing. Bend the knee and gently lower that left leg. Stay as you are. Walk the left foot into the center, and then we do the right side. So bringing the right knee in towards the chest and pointing the foot towards the roof. Push through that left heel. Activate through left glute and breathe. Bend through the knee, lowering the leg, undoing the hands and slowly lowering upper back, middle back, and lower back to floor. Gently windscreen wipe the legs from side to side. Last back bend. So coming into a bridge or a wheel, if that's in your practice, please don't feel like you have to do a wheel. If you haven't done it before, wouldn't recommend doing it in an online class. So we'll come into 10 breaths, whichever version you choose. So inhale to prepare and exhale to rise up. So if you're coming into your bridge, tippy toes will make it a little easier as it reduces the back bend, or heels on the heels on the floor make it harder. So bending through the elbows makes it a little easier. Straightening through the arms makes it harder. Squeeze the glutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chin to chest, bending through the elbows. The back of the head and the upper back comes onto the floor and then come out like bridge. Lowering upper back, middle back, lower back to floor. And windscreen wipe the legs. Maybe having a little smile to yourself. You survived Thursday night class, well done. The right knee comes up in towards the chest, pull it up nice and tight, and exhale over the body for supine twist. And bringing that attention now to your breath. Using this as an act of meditation to bring you into the present moment, to bring you into your body, into that place of sensation in the now. Bring the right knee back over the top, then straighten it out in front of you. The left knee comes in towards the chest, pull it up nice and tight. Exhale over the top of the body. Twist. Allowing yourself to be soft. And let gravity start to pull your weight to the floor. Come back to center. Taking a happy baby if it would feel good for you to neutralize the back. So grab the outsides of the feet, pull the knees in nice and tight towards the armpits and flex the feet. So you have an option to gently rock and roll from side to side if that feels good, or if you want to neutralize your back, push your lower back into the floor and get straight through the spine. Coming down for your final resting pose, your Shavasana. See if you can use this time to think of some of the things that you are grateful for in your life. And you're welcome to stay a little longer in your Shavasana if you wish. Otherwise, take a scan of the body and think of all the wonderful muscles and bones and nerves that make up this wonderful machine that makes your body. And what a miracle it is that it all functions so well for you every day. And finding gratefulness and contentment in giving this last hour to this body to stretch, to engage, to move. Wiggling your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, giving yourself a big hug, bringing your knees in towards your chest and hugging your knees in nice and tight. And when you're ready, rolling onto your favorite side and gently helping yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Keeping your eyes closed and chin drawn in towards the chest. So seeing if through your yoga practice you can be reminded to find contentment in your life. Santosha, the act of content. And just reminding yourself that as humans, we have goals, but then when we reach the goals, we have a small time of being happy, and then we just move the goalpost to the next goal. And what if we could just be a little bit more content with the now? Bring your hands to your heart, namaste. Hope you enjoyed the practice, and we'll take this feeling of contentment and gratefulness through the rest of your day or night, and try the rest of your week and the rest of your life. No, that's quite hard. Try a little gratefulness journal if you have a little diary at home. I'm going to start doing this again because I go in and out of this practice. But when you get up in the morning or when you go to bed at night or both, just write 3 things that you're grateful for and really feel those things. And it's pretty amazing how fast gratefulness journals work. So thanks for coming tonight, guys. And I hope you enjoy the evening. Hey, Mark. Hey, Josephina. And yeah, I'll see some of you on Saturday. And have a good evening.